Hello, Seeker. Welcome to Revival of Symbolism, a channel devoted to the language of esoteric symbolism, guiding you to discover yourself and expand your consciousness into deeper realms of thought. I'm Harry B. Joseph, also known as Revival of Wisdom, and today we're going to be discussing the symbol of the pentagram. The pentagram is a well-known symbol inside the occult, used by pretty much every ancient tradition: Freemasonry, Rosicrucianism, Hermeticism, all the occult schools of thought. You will see this symbol. And today we're going to be breaking it down into some great detail. Now, there's a lot that goes into this symbol. It's basically a 5-pointed star. Now, if you notice that the star is one line continuously, you can draw this symbol continuously with one line without taking your pen or pencil off the piece of paper. So it's actually symbolizing one, and one expressing through 5 ways. So if we look at this symbol and each one of their points, we're looking at the 5 elements that create life, the universe, or creation itself. So the element of spirit simply represents the divine, the unseen world, the things that we can't really put our hands on, we can't feel, touch, taste, or see, but they hold influence over the material plane. So spirit covers a large category of things such as spiritual forces that drive physical existence. So it's one of the elements. Now, what are the elements? Well, they make up the entirety of physical creation: air, water, earth, fire. These are the 4 tangible that we can see, feel elements that make up physical creation. They create the whole universe. However, the spirit is the invisible forces, the invisible element that creates the visible, tangible world. Before you take a physical action, there is a force inside of you that moves the body. There is an intention, which is a spiritual force, an invisible, intangible force that makes a physical action be taken in the world of manifestation called earth. This is the element of the divine. The divine comes down creating the world. Okay? So, as I previously mentioned, how this pentagram is one line. It's a one continuous line. So if we draw this pentagram together, let me make this a little bit thicker for you. If we draw this pentagram together, it goes from spirit to fire, to air, to water, to earth, back to spirit. So it's one continuous line, and the elements are always in their proper place. These elements always have to be in this specific order. This is the correct order. If you see air down here, then the pentagram is incorrect. Okay? So it always goes spirit, water, fire, earth, air. This is the correct order of the elements. Now, this is highly symbolic, which is what we'll break down in just a minute. But before we go into the deeper aspects of this, I will explain pretty much what it means on a basic level. So we'll come back to this drawing. So spirit is on the top, which means spirit over or more superior or more dominated over the earthly elements. Now, what does this mean to an individual, to yourself or me? If I wear this pentagram, I am basically saying my spiritual divine self, my internal self, is more superior than anything the material world can pretty much give me. My spiritual journey is more superior. My spiritual self is more dominant over the earthly world and the material things. Okay? Now, not many people are like that in today's society. Most people chase the material things, which means they're ignorant of their spirit. They're ignorant of their divine nature. They're ignorant to consciousness and their internal world. They have no connection with their internal world. All of their thought, emotion, and action, their 3 creative powers, is totally expressed only on material gain and external things. However, if you see an upright pentagram, you're seeing someone who is basically saying, My spiritual nature is more important than my earthly nature. My spirit comes first before anything material. And ultimately, this is how you become more happy and fulfilled in life, by chasing, well, not chasing, but putting your spirit first, putting your internal world first. Seeking the things that are untangible. For example, knowledge. I'm addicted to knowledge. I would rather chase knowledge because knowledge is power. Knowledge of self is so important. When we die, it is the only thing that matters in the end. When you die, you are immortal. And if you have no knowledge of yourself, then you're going to struggle in the afterlife. If you have no self-control over your thoughts and emotions and desires, then you will suffer in the afterlife because you have no control of your thoughts, and your thoughts will be creating your reality in the realm of imagination or the astral plane. But that's a whole other lecture. But this symbol is pretty much saying placing the invisible over the visible. So there's many different avenues we can go with this. So this symbol is also used in magic. We could use the symbol for manifestation. It represents controlling the inner world to produce then effect inside of the external world. You see? So we have to put this first in magic spirit. We have to change the internal so we can produce change in the external. Reality is created from the inside out. Okay? So this symbol is heavily associated with magic as well, which is a whole other lecture. In this lecture, I'm going to give you a good detailed explanation, but this symbol is so vast and wide, it would take many breakdowns to go into each meaning of the symbol. So it's representing the divine element of spirit coming down and manifesting the physical plane through that process of this. So as I mentioned earlier that I'd come back to this, what we're looking at is the process of spirit turning into matter. This is the process of how spirit condenses into a material form, how higher energy, higher forms, which are invisible, come down and manifest and crystallize into a physical object or a physical reality. So this pentagram is explaining the process of creation. So it comes from the higher realm, spirit, the source, the emanation. An emanation is a thought or an emotion or a desire, which comes down to fire first. Fire represents the will. This is the willpower. This is the willpower. It's still kind of more of an invisible force, but fire is the closest element that represents spirit. This is why we light candles in magic and rituals, because it's literally opening a doorway to spirit. It's the closest element to spirit. So this is why sometimes in alchemical artworks, they use fire to represent spirit. Because, it's quite difficult to use a symbol for spirit because it's totally invisible. So it goes down to fire first, the will. Then it goes up to the air, which represents intellect, the intelligence of the mind. This is thinking, mind, intellect, logic. Then it goes down to water. This is emotion. This is intuition. And then it goes into the earth, which is physical body action. Okay? So spirit represents an emanation. So an emanation is something descending out of the void, out of the nothingness. And the first thing that descends is will, then intellect, then emotion, then a physical action. Then everything returns back to spirit from earth. So it's showing you how spirit manifests into matter. It's also showing you the macrocosm, how the world is created. So ultimately, it's a symbol of the microcosm also. It's a symbol of you. If you put your body outwards, you would see your body in this 5-pointed star shape. So it's a symbol of the microcosm, because you yourself are a microcosm. You contain all of the elements: spirit, fire, earth, water, and air. You breathe air, you drink water, fire in your nervous system, which is electricity, and earth is your physical body. So you are a microcosm of the universe. And this is what the circle, when we see the circle around, this is representing the macrocosm, the circle. So why are you a microcosm? Because you know how the sun changes the earth with its different electromagnetic rays, depending on how far away the sun is to the earth when it's rotating. Well, depending on what model you believe anyway, the electromagnetic rays produce change on the earth. So when the sun is further away from the earth, or whatever model you believe, when the sun is further away, then the electromagnetic rays of the sun are weaker, which means that's what the winter is. The winter is the death and the death of the electromagnetic rays of the sun. We still get sun, but it's just not as powerful as summertime. So nature dies. But then when the summer comes back around, the sun is closer, it produces higher amounts of electromagnetic life force rays, which increases the growth again in the summertime. But this is also not only happening on the earth, it's happening within the body. The body goes through this rhythm. The same rhythm that the external world goes through, your body's going through this rhythm. So these changes in the cycles not only change the earth, they change consciousness. These cycles happen within you. They happen within your body, your cells, your nervous system, your brain, your psyche. Your emotions, your intellect is all affected through these cycles of the sun. So this is why you are a microcosm of the macrocosm. Your mind is cut out of the same fabric of God's intelligence, of God's mind. The same power of thought God used to manifest the world, to think it into existence, the same power you use to think your world into existence. You are truly a microcosm containing all the 5 elements, all the same powers of God, but just in a smaller version. It's a symbol of the microcosm. It's a symbol of the macrocosm also. It's a symbol of how spirit manifests into form. And this is why it's associated with magic, because you can use these elements in magic, this process of how spirit becomes matter. So there's so much that goes into this. And I actually broke this down inside the new book, the Book of Symbolism, on these 2 pages here. I will do another one on the inverted pentagram. This book, I've basically gone over every Freemasonic symbol, alchemical symbols, every occult society symbols is pretty much in this new Book of Symbolism. But again, it's not a book on symbolism. These symbols are representing forces within yourself. They represent you, and these symbols are designed to awaken aspects of yourself. So this is not a book on symbolism. This is a book on you. Each symbol will awaken different aspects of yourself to help you understand yourself. So anyways, it's a big book. It's going to be ready very soon. I'll leave a waiting list in the description. You can join the waiting list, or I'll just give you an email when it's ready. And I will see you in the next video. Please leave a like, comment, and share, and I'll see you in the next one.